welcome to a brand new fall edition for Hue at Home. We are so excited that live theater and dance is back in town. We will visit the Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre. By the way, I'm sitting with John Hirsch and Tom Henry, founding members, as they celebrate 65 years of live theatre. I'll sit down with Artistic Director Kelly Thornton as she spills the beans on the brand new lineup. As well, I'll head over to Winnipeg Contemporary Dancers. They're celebrating their 58th season. And new Artistic Director Jolene Bailie has a brand new season that is going to knock it out of the park. So stick around. We have more entertainment and great stories to tell right here on Hue at Home. It is feeling like coming back home, sitting in the lobby of the Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre. I have Artistic Director Kelly Thornton, and although it's just the two of us, I think there's going to be a lot more. Sorry, I had to do that. I can't sing, but it feels so good to be back here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
You should wait till you're in the house with all the audience.
Oh.
That feels really good to be back. Yeah.
Okay, so we are talking about the new season. It rolls out, and you are not letting anything get in your way. It is like a big technical knockout with your season.
Yeah.
And I want to say a favorite of mine, and so, I guess, timely, opening up with Network.
I know, especially because you're in the media, as you know. Network is I mean, Network blows my mind that it was written in 1976. It won the Academy Award. It's an iconic film, that I remember. Mm-hmm. I remember what an impact it had. And the writing, which has not been adapted, it's really just lifted. I mean, they've shaped it a little bit, but it's the exact writing, and it's speaking to the time we live in now, and predicted exactly, how network news turned into a ratings game, and sadly they sold their soul for the ratings. And you see the extremes of that in our society. What's happened to media because of it. So it's funny, and it's poignant, and it's so smart. And Jim Mizon, who, the greatest story of all is that Jim Mizon was the building custodian here at MTC when he was in his 20s. He used to sneak into the balcony and watch the matinee, and then he went off to a huge success. He's had 33 seasons at the Shaw Festival, and he is the lead. He plays Howard Beale, the news anchor. Yeah, and Jim, I saw the opening night at the Citadel Theatre in Edmonton. They're finishing up this weekend and flying here. And Jim Mizon is a giant. He just knocks it out of the park, and he's got umpteen brilliant speeches that he does in the show. Obviously, the Mad as Hell speech is the iconic one, but there's so much. It's a messenger from the past speaking right now to the present. That
is so crazy that everything has come full circle. That he can be here.
I know.
That is like, it's almost like the two gentlemen outside there are laughing, and they're yes.
I know. I mean, and he talks about it with kind of pride. Like he says, you can tell anybody, you can talk to the media about this, that because he was in his 20s, and he was dreaming of being an actor, and obviously loved theater. He would sneak in. He also, there's a little secret room above the rehearsal hall that he would sneak into and watch. Occasionally he'd clean up the building, but he really, he had his hopes and dreams set for the theater, and he became, he's a gem of an actor in terms of the Canadian theater. He's made such a career.
Well, that alone is the impetus for everybody to come and see this show. Okay, I am going to go totally the other way. We're going to talk about the new season, but this story, though, really twigs my interest. What the whole industry, live theater and entertainment as a whole has gone through for basically the last 3 years, and we're not out of it yet. Yeah. Kelly, dreams like that, like the gym there, are they going to happen in the future? And what are we still going to have actors and actresses?
Yeah.
And the big dreams of being on stage?
Yeah, I think I was just actually talking to an artist who, she's a playwright, but she's also a teacher, and she said, you know, my students are. She was actually teaching a film course, and they were making short films, and she said they are like making some of the most exciting material. So, you know, I do think this time has been challenging for everyone, but I also think it does produce great art. You know, and speaking of dreams, I came here in 2019. I had 10 good months, and then COVID hit. I've been in crisis management ever since. But yeah, it's still a dream job. It's still a dream job. When I walk into the John Hirsch and see that, especially when you see the room filled,
Yes.
but see the glorious things that can happen on that stage. And theater is something that is magical, right? It's a two-way transfer between the people on stage, the people in the audience, and it's a live transfer of energy. And you know, it's no surprise that the studies show that our hearts begin to beat in sync, our breath syncs up, and together we are moved through a journey that is transformative. So there's nothing like live theater, and you can't get it sitting on the couch.
No, or Zoom or whatever. How have the audiences, I guess, transitioned? Because that has always been a big factor, and we've seen it not coming in droves, but in increments slowly.
Yeah, and I'm sure most of Winnipeg knows. You know, Mark Chipman was contacting season ticket holders to say please, or those that hadn't renewed, to say please come back and see the Jets. I have a cheeky campaign called "Put Your Pants On, Winnipeg."
Not your pajamas.
I think it'll go national, actually. But you know, I think it's been a disruption. So audiences are out of habit, and this city, you know, one of the things that was so incredible when I came here was the level of civic pride in this city, the engagement of the citizens with all that Winnipeg offers. And it's a two-way street, right? All that Winnipeg offers, this building, the history, the 65-year history of MTC, but RWB and the symphony and like all of the great things, plus the Jets coming back, and you know, like all of the great things about Winnipeg have been made possible by the civic engagement of Winnipeggers. So, you know, I think we have to kind of reboot that, but I have great faith that the pride of the city and these institutions will return. You know, it's across. You know, you can read about theater and the lack of return, or the slower return of audiences in Australia, in Great Britain, in the U.S. It's across. Across English theater in the world. I think we're seeing an audience that's been disrupted. They're out of habit. Some of them are quite comfortable on their couches. Some of them have aged out. But I also think, you know, I've talked to several people recently who said that, you know, I just went to my first concert in 3 years, and they were like, and it was such a hit that I now I want to go to another one. So I think it's kind of like crossing that threshold of going back for the first time and going, yeah, this is I remember this. I have the muscle memory of this, and it's part of who I am to go to theater.
Oh, I know.
So I think I have faith that everybody will return. I mean, you know, Winnipeggers, it's like the highest volunteer base in the country. I think it's like there's.
And they all came back, the volunteers here.
Yeah. So I think, I just think, you know, we're doing okay. We're actually doing pretty well in our returns. We're not quite at the level we were pre-pandemic, but every day we're doing the work, and we're opening a show here on the 20th of October, and another one on November 2nd over at the warehouse down the street. And
I know, it's going back and forth. Okay, so we talked about network and getting people back to the theater. Obviously, now you have full control, and it's your job to serve up the delectable menu that is going to entice us to come. So besides network, what else is on?
So Three Musketeers follows network, which is it's selling really well. You know,
Steve Martin coming?
No. But it's our holiday show this year, which is fun. And you know, it's good swashbuckling fun, but it's also, you know, it's like fighting corruption and
again, the good guys,
and romance. I mean, it's a wonderful show, and some amazing sword play is going to happen, and the set is really fun, and like I can't wait. It's a spectacle, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a story that is known and loved, and I think audiences are going to eat it up, and it's a great family show for Christmas.
Yes,
you know, for the holidays.
Definitely.
And then Into the Woods, which I'm directing, which is Stephen Sondheim's classic play, which is having a revival on Broadway right now to great acclaim. Yeah, Into the Woods is such a great musical. It's such a fun musical. It's frankly, I'll tell you first, it's way funnier than the movie. Way funnier.
But a lot of people aren't familiar with Into the Woods.
So yes, Into the Woods is this mashup of fairy tales. Really about, you know, it's got Little Red Riding Hood, it's got Cinderella, and this made-up fairy tale, the Baker's Wife, and Jack and the Beanstalk as well. The Baker's Wife and the baker who can't have children. Anyway, it's a whole story it's a quest story. They all go into the woods because they're all wishing for something, and they all get their wish, and then it's happily ever after to be continued. And it's really about what happens when you pursue your wishes or your personal needs at the cost of others. So it really, the story of that musical is very much about, and I always say, it's the perfect musical for right now, because it's about individual pursuits versus collective responsibility, and really they come together to take care of each other. A giant shows up in the second act, and
well, don't spoil too much about it.
Anyway, it's about how to overcome the giant.
Again, that
and the most beautiful music, Sondheim is
a genius.
He's an incredible genius, and in fact we programmed it before he passed away. So it's a great show in dedication to his talent, and Winnipeggers will love it. It's magical, it's funny.
It'll be well directed.
And we're gonna have a great time.
Perfect. And then, what ends up?
After that?
Yes.
Well, we have Trouble in Mind, which is a co-production with the Citadel Theatre again. Trouble in Mind is an incredible play that was written in the 50s by Alice Childress. She was supposed to be the first black female playwright to be on Broadway with this play, Trouble in Mind. And ended up, the producers wanted her to change the ending and soften it, and she said, you know, no, I'm not going to. This is the story, and ended up, not being produced. But it's had a revival. It was in London this past year in the West End. It's been on Broadway. It was at the Shaw Festival. It's also very much about now. It's actually a play within a play. It's a group of actors, both black and white actors, rehearsing a Broadway show, and kind of about conflict and appropriation, and whose story, who has the right to tell whose story.
Interesting.
And it's a comedy, a comedy that has, you know,
a dark side.
It's, you know, I think all the best comedies are like truth-telling comedies that also make you think, you know.
Well, we want that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then Secret to Good Tea, which is Rosanna Deerchild.
Oh.
Speaking of great journalists, she's, you know, known and loved through CBC Unreserved. Rosanna was a part of our Pimateoan Creator Circle, our Indigenous writers group, and Rosanna has written this incredible play inspired by the story of her mother's, you know, resilience and survival of residential schools. Again, I don't mean to, like, you know, tilt everything towards comedy, but Rosanna is so bright in terms of how she's, you know, real life, even through the hard times, we laugh, right? Laughter is what is our lifeblood. And she's written a beautiful story really about she and her mother coming to terms with their relationship and the chasm that is caused by a past that her mom doesn't talk about. So that's in the spring. And then closing off our main stage season with Burning Mom, which is really hilarious and also really about resilience. It's a play based on the playwright Miyako Uchi's mom, who's, you know, in her mid-60s. Her husband was diagnosed with cancer and passed away very quickly, and suddenly just when she thought she was going to have her golden years of retirement, they had bought an RV and they were going to drive around North America and have a great retirement. And suddenly he's passed and she's alone with this RV and her kids who are trying to get her to sell it. And she teaches herself how to drive. There's a whole section where she goes in the nighttime to a mall in Calgary and teaches herself how to drive, and one of the security guards actually coaches her. And then she goes to her family and announces that she's going to Burning Man in the Nevada desert, which is this huge art festival that happens annually in Nevada. And her one son says, I'll come too. And he and his friend and mom hop in the RV and drive across North America to Nevada to this festival. And it's really about, you know, reinventing yourself and facing your fears, and coming to terms with, you know, a new chapter in your life that you didn't necessarily think you were going to be part of. So it's a great show, and it's a one-woman show. Susan Coyne, who is originally from Winnipeg, is the lead, the only actor, but the solo actor, and she's an amazing, incredible Canadian actor. So she's going to lead us through that journey.
Oh, wow.
And over at the Warehouse, Pamela Sinha has written a story. It's opening in November. She's written a story that is also kind of inspired autobiographically by her parents' immigration to Winnipeg in the wintry months in 1970. Her dad came here as an associate professor at the U of M, and it's loosely based, but it's not really based, but it is loosely based on her mom and her dad, particularly focused on her mom, Rabina Sinha, who ended up, you know, going from very kind of depressed and removed and not sure she wanted to be here at all, to somebody that became like deeply civically engaged in the city and sat on numerous boards, and she's a dancer. She's an Indian classical dancer. Again, so it's about, you know, it's about facing your fears and reinventing who you are and the person that you want to become.
Well, and I have to say that although it's, you know, such an eclectic mix, I see a common thread. The thread being supporting women, especially in theater, storytelling that everyone can relate to. It's not some fantasy thing, or it's not something that only a certain group can understand. Yeah. And it's educational.
Yeah.
So,
and you know, and maybe subconsciously, because there's so much of it is about kind of resilience and
Yes.
getting through hard things,
Yeah.
and overcoming them, and summoning all the power that is actually within you, and you didn't
Yeah.
even know how powerful you were, to face into your fears and to survive, which is, you know, in the time of COVID, I think
We've all.
subconsciously that's what I was obviously drawing from when I was programming this.
Yes, sitting in your pajamas and
Yeah. What should we put on the stage when they do come back?
going on to Zoom. No,
Yeah.
no, congratulations. And I mean, what a beautiful, beautiful season that I think that everybody should come, even if it's just one show, and even just to come out. Royal MTC is the gem here in Winnipeg. It is bringing back theater. It is bringing back life. This is one of the good things that is happening in our city. Thank you so much, Kelly. We were sitting down. We knew this was going to be a long talk. I'm glad
Yeah.
we did it.
Yeah.
And congratulations not only to you, but your staff, the actors, the volunteers. Thank you for bringing theater back here. And yes,
Yeah,
we
and
are gonna have a
to
great year.
everybody coming back downtown
Yeah.
and coming, you know, enjoying everything that Winnipeg has to offer. You know, this city is the success of this city is made by the people that live in Winnipeg, and that's why I love, you know, since I moved here in 2019, I've fallen in love with the city, particularly because the people that engage with what we do here.
Well, we welcome you. We hope you stay for many, many more years. And let's hit it out of the ballpark with 2022 and 2023 at the Royal MTC.
Girl, you know what's up. Ooh, say what, say what, say what. Girl, you know what's up. Ooh, say what, say what, say what. So tell me what's up. I'm digging you. I'm feeling you. Girl, you know what's up. Say I'm digging you. And I'm wanting you. So tell me what's up. Tell me what's up. Girl, you know what's up. Ooh, say what, say what, say what. Girl, you know what's up.
Well, welcome back to You at Home. It is our dance section of the show, and I have the beautiful and talented Jolene Bailie. We won't say how long we go back, Jolene. Let's just say that many, many years that I've known you, and I guess I was just informed that you have been the artistic director for Winnipeg Contemporary Dancers for 4 years now, but I kind of introduced you as the new, brand new, and you had the luxury of becoming artistic director and then heading into a thing called COVID. So this should be your inaugural year. That's what all I'm saying. Fair enough?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, okay, so let's get into it. Coming back, you had the dancers here in rehearsal. What is it like, face to face?
Well, this is what we want to do all the time. This is why we're here. This is our raison d'etre at Winnipeg's Contemporary Dancers, to create and produce contemporary dance. So what's so great is that we're really expecting to come back to a season where we'll have our regular audience in. We're planning a season of all live performances. Only, online content if we really need to, like really our experiences in person, the lived experience. And we have a spectacular lineup of artists and dancers for our 58th season.
I know, congratulations, 58 years strong. And, I know that Rachel is looking down here and a big smile is on her face right now. We really dearly miss Rachel Brown, but let's talk about the 58th season. You've got some amazing guest artists coming in.
Yeah, we have 2 guest artists. The first guest artist in November is Dana Ashby. And Dana Ashby is a Métis Dutch Canadian artist whose work has toured around the world many, many times. She's also young, like she's just in her early 30s. She's already had 2 giant retrospectives of her work done. Really in demand, really interesting, really relevant and potent and mature, really about current issues in Canada and the world, and issues dealing with women, issues dealing with Indigenous women, issues just dealing with the body as well. So I'm really excited. It's a real performance work. It won an award in New York City at Bessie. Like, wow. It's huge. So we're so excited. First time Dana will have her work here in Winnipeg, so Manitoba. So we're excited to bring her here. And she's going to teach a workshop as well for the artists here. So not only will we get to see the performances and the artists, she's going to do an artist talk, and we'll have a workshop for our dancers and artists here as well. So yeah, that's in November. That's our first show and our first guest artist.
Okay, so let's go down the list. Who else is coming?
Edan Cohen. Now, Edan Cohen is also new to Manitoba, first time here. He connected to WCD during COVID when we had a call to artists looking for a guest artist in residence, thinking that we couldn't present live performances, so let's do creative residences. Well, what happened was that just COVID continued and continued and continued, and we could never get Edan here. So the project evolved into a commission for brand new work. So he's going to create a full-length work for WCD dancers. We have a cast of 6 fabulous dancers. Edan Cohen is an Israeli choreographer, and he has a real different lived experience coming from the Middle East, and his queer perspective in the Middle East too is really relevant, and it's going to be performed to music by Philip Glass. We're really excited to. Played live, the live pianist, so we're excited for that. Those are really all great things for us.
Oh, and of course, you never shy away from work. So you will be premiering your own work.
Yes, I'm doing a brand new work. Sort of a tradition. Most years I create 1 new work. So this year we have a cast of 7 dancers. Really excited about that. 2 brand new dancers joining WCD this year. And original music composed by Emma Hendricks, who's a local artist. Their sound will also be, when you come out to Old Market Square in a few minutes, we will also hear Emma's music there. Oh. So excited about that. Working with some new faces and new artists, but also with artists who have a long time history with WCD. We have lighting designer Hugh Conacher, who's been working with WCD since 1982. It's amazing. So he's gonna light 2 of our shows, and yeah, excited about that. And just really, we also have an emerging artist project, which we're just in the middle of right now, and that's what you're going to see a little bit of in Old Market Square. So our emerging artist show is our first show of the season, and that's in October, and we have 12 artists in that show, and in 3 works, and really, like, it's a little bit of a poignant and also beautiful time to sort of see, what the future is bringing, and the energy of the dancers just coming out of their training. And there's nothing like sort of youth and young people moving. That just really gives us a bit of a beacon of what our future is going to become, because that's them.
Well, and that maybe takes me to my question. Can you see yourself in these young dancers when you were that young and you had all of this creative juices flowing and ideas flowing? And I'm sure that is still happening today with the young dancers.
Yeah, I see myself in all of them in different moments. Like, it's a real, beautiful time, also a complicated time when you're just sort of, in some ways you gotta sometimes figure out what you like and what you don't like, and all of those rites of passage. And, I come from a long history of teaching, and I actually got into teaching before I got into choreography and even some performance. I started teaching really, really young, and so I think I just love that aspect too of not every choreographer or director is a teacher. That's not a common thing at all.
No.
But I think for those choreographers and directors who also love to teach, the journey is that much more special sometimes.
Oh, and I guess too, now you are at the helm. You've taken over the scepter, the crown, you know, from Brent, from Rachel to Brent, and now to you. What do you see as the future? And let's talk about the landscape of dance in general, you know, whether it be ballet, modern, creative, or all those other genres, because it is expanding, right? Everybody's doing their own thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think, you know, one of the beautiful things about contemporary dance is it's always been sort of fiercely independent. Like, even though we have organizations and institutions and companies and collectives, like, really how the form develops is really, you know, due to, like, each individual artist. So I think that is something that will continue. Like, it's the individuals who just happen to either be there or their life is about that at that time that shapes the form. I think also what's becoming more and more important in mainstream arts and other forms of dance, which has always been really at the core of contemporary dance, is that, you know, it needs to have relevancy. It needs to be about the people of the today, what we're facing today. We need to be able to relate to it now, and it needs to, like, you know, not just be or beautiful or moving or transporting. It also has to have a message that, you know, is important for people to hear, reflect upon. And I think, you know, in our season here coming up, I think all of the creators and all of the works are really trying to delve into sort of the importance of what our responsibility is as a human being right now.
And I hope that all of the young people, especially the ones here tonight and who will see, they really get the chance to express themselves, and that's what you've been saying, but also, though, to leave a legacy. This is their power. This is their chance to make a stand, and to have that talent and to be able to do that, and to have someone like yourself to nurture them, I think is so important. And Winnipeg, again, like I said, Royal MTC is a gem. Winnipeg's Contemporary Dancers is certainly up there, and a very, very important gem too as well. And we're so proud of you, Jolene. It's so nice to have a local woman in charge, and I say in charge in a very, very nice way, but it is so important. And with everything that's happening in this world, we need this. We need to be sitting in these purple chairs. This has got to be one of the most beautiful, intimate theaters in town. And we are so excited and can't wait for the dancers. Where can people get tickets for the show?
You can buy tickets online, so on WCD's website, Winnipeg's contemporarydancers.ca. All the tickets are also available through Eventbrite. There's links there. You can just search up Winnipeg's Contemporary Dancers. Tickets are available at the door, over the phone. So yeah, really easy to find.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Congratulations. All the best for the new season and to the dancers. And they are performing outside, so hopefully the weather will be nice to them.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks. And thanks to all of you out there. I want to give a special thank you to all of our guests on today's show, and we'll see you next time on Hue at Home.